The top world headlines for this hour. It's RT International live from Moscow with me, Rory Souchet. A very warm welcome to you today. Let's get straight to our breaking news story for you this hour. The Ukrainian parliament has voted to give special status to the defiant eastern regions of the country. It also approved early elections and amnesty to those fighting against Kiev. RT's Roman Kosarev explaining what this means in practice.
The Ukrainian parliament passed a law that grants a special status to Donetsk and Lugansk regions here in the east of Ukraine for a period of 3 years. Now, the law itself states or guarantees the use of the right to use the Russian language or any other and study any other languages for that matter here in the east of Ukraine. It also states that local elections should be held on the 7th of December of this year. Now, another bill that was passed along with this one was an amnesty for all the participants of the hostilities here in Donetsk and Lugansk regions. Now, the people are still certainly looking for more than the 3-year special status offered by the Ukrainian parliament, although they still welcome this move as a start to the negotiation process that will ultimately, hopefully, lead to a complete end to violence here. Meanwhile, the ceasefire it's still being observed by both sides, although it's very shaky. We're still hearing of civilian deaths on a daily basis, at least here in the Donetsk region. But no matter how shaky this truce is, it's still enough for some refugees to make their way back home to their ravaged cities.
RT's Roman Kosarev, I spoke to him a short time ago. Now, a deal to end the crisis in Ukraine was reached on September the 5th in Minsk between representatives of Kiev, the self-proclaimed republics, Russia and the European security watchdog, the OSCE. It included an immediate bilateral ceasefire in the east, which has now lasted for 11 days. International observers are to monitor the truce, and a special status is to be given to the Donetsk and Lugansk regions, with early local elections to be held as well. Also, all POWs are to be released, a process already underway, and all military hardware to be withdrawn from the conflict zone. And with the parliament approving the special status of the regions and an amnesty, most conditions of the Minsk agreement have now been met. Now, Bruno Dvorsky, a political analyst from the National Institute of Eastern Civilizations, joining me live now to discuss this further. We're also joined by RT's Maria Finoshna. You're just back from Ukraine. Both of you, a very warm welcome. A big hello to both of you. First, though, I'll start with Maria. You're just now fresh from eastern Ukraine. What is the situation there now? How are the people coping?
First of all, Rory, let me just express my hopes, and I believe all the hopes of all people of eastern Ukraine, that this could put an end. This will be the beginning of the end of that terrible bloodshed in eastern Ukraine that we've been witnessing for many months. Yeah, we spent many weeks there, and believe me, the situation on the ground was even more dramatic than we were able to show it to our viewers. Shelling was continuing day and night, casualties, and including among civilian populations, including kids and women, were rising day by day, and maybe this is one of the most terrible things about this conflict. People were forced to flee their homes, their motherland, and those who couldn't had to stay there, and they were hiding in the basements. Could you imagine that? And because that was the only place they still could feel safe. And in the last weeks, they were living without water or electricity, and there were shortages with food, even with medicine. So it was nightmare. This is the word that many of those who we were able to speak to, and believe me, we spoke to many people in eastern Ukraine, were describing it. So let's hope this decision by Kiev's authorities now will put an end to all this nightmare there.
Yeah, Maria, we've been running your reports, of course, here on RT International. We've seen the extreme violence. We've seen the bombing campaigns, the residential areas paying the price, what some officials might call collateral damage. But let's bring Bruno into this now as well, because Bruno, ultimately today, breaking news here on RT International, most of the steps of the Minsk agreement are agreed upon now, with a special status to be given to Donetsk and the Lugansk regions as well. How much of a chance does this agreement have of finally paving a way to lasting peace, do you think?
I think it's good news. Just the question is now how it will be introduced, because